Delhi was holding its breath. In hours, the Union Jack that had flown for nearly 2 centuries would come down forever. From Connaught Place to Chandni Chowk, crowds had gathered. Shops were draped in orange, white and green bunting. Makeshift stages blared patriotic songs on crackling loudspeakers. Women in bright saris carried trays of sweets, children waved paper flags, and the smell of roasting peanuts and jasmine flowers hung in the air. But Delhi's railway stations told a darker story. Refugee trains from Punjab kept rolling in, overloaded with families carrying bundles, bedding, and eyes full of exhaustion. They were welcomed with food and shelter by local volunteers, yet no one could ignore the whispers. More violence in Lahore, more killings in Rawalpindi. At the Red Fort, the British flag still fluttered in the night breeze. It would be taken down only after midnight. In the Grand Viceroy's house, soon to be Rashtrapati Bhavan, Lord Louis Mountbatten sat at dinner with close aides. His tone was jovial, but his eyes betrayed unease. He knew tonight was historic and chaotic. His diary would later reveal mixed feelings: pride in overseeing a peaceful transfer of power, and sorrow over the bloodshed of partition. Inside the Constituent Assembly Hall, Parliament House, 10:30 p.m. Mahogany desks, brass lamps, and a restless hum. India's leading politicians, diplomats, and journalists filled the chamber. There was an unspoken awareness. This was the last time they would meet as subjects of an empire. In a corner, Jawaharlal Nehru rehearsed lines from a speech he had been refining for weeks. His tryst with destiny, poetic, deliberate, and deeply personal. A cigarette burned low between his fingers as he whispered certain phrases to himself. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel sat silently, scanning the room. Rajendra Prasad adjusted his papers. Outside, security tightened. British soldiers in their crisp khaki stood alongside Indian policemen in white uniforms. But one man was missing. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi was in Calcutta, walking narrow lanes by lantern light. The city had seen deadly Hindu-Muslim riots just weeks earlier. Back in Delhi, the mood was electric. At 11:30 p.m., the Speaker called the House to order. The clock ticked toward midnight, a moment chosen not just politically, but astrologically. At the stroke of 11:58 p.m., the hall fell silent. Nehru rose, adjusting his Achkan collar. His voice was calm, but his words carried decades of struggle.
Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially.
The room seemed to hold its breath. Outside, people pressed against the gates, straining to hear through loudspeakers. Across the subcontinent, families huddled around radios tuned to All India Radio's crackling broadcast.
At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
The clock hands aligned. It was 12 a.m., August 15th, 1947. The new flag of India was unfurled, saffron catching the electric lights. Some wept openly. Patel, stoic as ever, blinked hard. Mountbatten watched, smiling politely, clapping as protocol demanded. From Delhi's Connaught Place to Bombay's Marine Drive, fireworks lit the night. Bands played patriotic tunes, strangers embraced, and trays of laddus and jalebis were passed through the crowd. The sound of deech-old drums mingled with conch shells and temple bells. In Madras, processions carried portraits of leaders through Mylapore. In Calcutta, though violence still simmered in pockets, there were moments when Hindus and Muslims celebrated together. In countless villages, however, the news travelled slowly. Some would learn of independence only days later, when local postmen or school teachers brought word. Yet not all was celebration. In Punjab, the night was marked by columns of refugees moving under the cover of darkness, hoping to avoid mobs. In Lahore, Amritsar and Noakhali, violence had not stopped. British India had been divided, but the final boundary lines, the Radcliffe Award, would not be officially published until August 17th. Many people did not yet know which country their village belonged to. Trains still carried passengers who would never reach their destinations. For many, August 15th began not with joy but with the sound of gunfire. While the spotlight was on Delhi, India's tricolour was quietly raised overseas for the first time at the Indian mission in New York, then in London, Rangoon and Nairobi. All India Radio played a crucial role. Hours before midnight, technicians double-checked their transmitters. The historic moment went live to millions. Nehru's voice, slightly muffled but steady, carried into homes from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. The first sunrise over free India bathed the Yamuna River in gold. In Calcutta, Gandhi broke his fast with a sip of fruit juice after receiving word that Hindu and Muslim leaders had pledged to keep the peace. In Delhi, the tricolour now flew over the Red Fort. School children sang Jana Gana Mana. Farmers in distant fields looked up from their work as temple bells rang longer than usual. The day was born of both triumph and tragedy, joy at the breaking of colonial chains, grief for the price paid in blood. Midnight of August 15th, 1947 was more than a moment in time. It was a threshold, a step into freedom's light and partition's shadow. And even now its echoes live in the heart of every Indian. A reminder that history is made not only by leaders in halls of power, but by millions whose names are never recorded. 78 years later, the memory still stands, not as a single story, but as a chorus of voices, each carrying the heartbeat of a nation newly born. Jai Hind! Thank you for watching Tales of History. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the past and learned something new about the events that shaped our world. If you found this video interesting, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who love history as much as we do. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future episodes. Until next time, keep exploring the fascinating stories of history with us. And remember, history isn't just the past, it's the key to understanding our present and shaping our future.